Maggie and Agnes were invited to attend the traditional service, which has been celebrated here since the beginning of Christianity.
After going to a service which lasted, from a Presbyterian point of view, far, far too long, with far, far too many Kyrie eleisons, they were asked, what would you like to see? And Agnes said, all your oldest manuscripts in Syriac.
Since the tip-off by the Cambridge scholar Rendell Harris, Agnes's knowledge of Syriac had improved enough for her to understand the basics of the Syriac language.
She was shown down, and they brought out of this dark closet off the dark room, this chest, brought a number of volumes up to light, and her eye quickly fell on this book. She was looking at it. It was very unpromising, but it was in Syriac.
The book was an ancient codex that hadn't been opened for many years.
When the twins first found the codex, the pages had fused together and they couldn't read it. Ever so resourceful Maggie and Agnes used steam from their teapot to unstick the pages and tease open the codex.
Written in bold letters, the codex contained an unspectacular Christian text, but underneath it, Agnes made out some faint writing that could be extremely interesting.
Peering at it, she could see at the top of the pages, according to Luke, according to Matthew. And she knew from this that it was a palimpsest.
I had never before seen a palimpsest, but my father had often related to us how the old monks, when vellum became scarce and paper was not yet invented, scraped away the writing from the pages of their books and wrote something new on top of it.
A palimpsest is a text that has been overwritten by a more recent text. Today, scientists can bring out the undertext with the help of multispectral imaging, a technique not available in the 1890s. The twins suspected that the underlying Bible text contained the 4 Gospels and that it was extremely old. To transcribe the undertext of the palimpsest correctly, they would need the help of more experienced Syriac readers. Armed with photographs of the palimpsest, Maggie and Agnes returned to Britain.
The Smith sisters are pioneers, not just because they have discovered a new biblical text, but because they're studying it in radically new ways. And one of those radically new ways involves photography. What had previously perhaps been a rather impressionistic argument about what you thought the text said can now be strengthened by the objective evidence of the photograph.
The photographic evidence persuaded 2 Syriac language experts from Cambridge to join forces with the Smith sisters. Within a year, the twins were back at St. Catherine's, together with the experts and their wives. Everyone was sworn to secrecy.
They were very worried about the Germans, the perennial German threat. Germans were, at the time, the world leaders in the study of ancient manuscripts. And it was felt that once a clue got out, the Germans might get there, pip them at the post, as it were.
In their tents, Agnes and the 2 Syriac experts struggled hard to decipher the hidden writing, but the twins had come prepared.
Maggie and Agnes knew the codex was a palimpsest, so they acquired an experimental chemical called hydrosulfide of ammonia to bring out the undertext.
When Agnes applied the chemical, it did the trick and brought out the hidden text. After 40 days of intense work, the transcription was completed. They had indeed found a complete set of the 4 Gospels of the New Testament. The twins returned to Britain, where news of their discovery was already getting newspaper attention.
Twin sister explorers turn new light on the 4 Gospels.
Experts dated the Codex, now known as the Syriacus, back to the late 4th century AD. The same century that Tischendorf's Codex Sinaiticus, the world's oldest complete Bible, was compiled. But like the Codex Sinaiticus, the Syriacus also included some features that were deeply unsettling for the faithful. Like Tischendorf's Sinaiticus, the Codex Syriacus also had the short ending of Mark. There's no mention of Jesus' appearances to his disciples after the crucifixion.
When the Codex Syriacus is discovered, it has, after the short ending, the words, "This is the ending," right? And then here begins the Gospel of Luke. After that, there can be no debate. It shows that the short ending was authentic. The ending of Mark is profound, troubling. The threat is there's no resurrection. There's no good news. It ends, "For they were terrified." It's the opposite of good news. They didn't tell anybody anything about it. This was a very frightening ending for the Victorian Christians.
Evidently, the long ending with the resurrection appearances was only added to the Gospel of Mark later, centuries after the death of Jesus. Even after Maggie and Agnes had discovered the Codex Syriacus, the questions surrounding the ending of Mark wouldn't go away. The central event of Christianity, the resurrection, had been called into question. Perhaps new discoveries by Bible hunters could provide further clues. Maggie and Agnes, for their part, didn't regard the short ending of Mark as a problem, because the resurrection appearances are included in the other Gospels and in the epistles of Paul.
And here we see their portraits. We have on our left Agnes and on our right Margaret, wearing their academic gowns.
The Smith sisters went on to gain academic honors. They were trailblazers in a city where most colleges still excluded women from academic life.
In the Isle of Skye is an old traveling trunk of Agnes's, you can see.
At the end of their lives, the twins bequeathed much of their fortune to Westminster College in Cambridge. Here, one of their travel chests takes pride of place.